first thing you need to do is get a socket and just make it shorter so you can get that bottom bolt. Just grind it down. Okay? And get this thing loose. Get the bolts off. You might have them embedded. The piston embeds into the backside of this pad, and it makes it real hard to slide out. So if you get it loose, it might help you, but you're going to have to get these things out. Not necessarily before it's all the way off, but just fiddle with it, you'll get them out. After you get them out, you're going to find the piston sticking out quite a bit, and they'll be in there. Every time you put the brakes on, there's a new mean position of the piston. The thinner these things get, the farther out the piston's mean position is. So these were at a mean position of about, I don't know, half an inch or something like that. So what I do is I clamp the outer one off so it can't move. And then I squeeze this piston in with this. Now I'm going to take this off, this C-clamp, and I'm going to start pumping the brakes. 6 pumps. It'll push this thing out to about a half an inch or so. Don't go too far, or you're going to the piston's going to come out, and then you're not going to have the 1,000 pounds of pressure to push it out that you would with, anymore, because you've lost the fluid. And you have to, when you do that, if you blow it, which I did on the other side, you're going to have to bleed it. You only have to bleed one wheel. And all you have to do is you just take yourself a rubber hose, like, I don't know where it is, just fuel line from a Volkswagen, just fuel line, any fuel line. And you go up and you go down into a pan like this. And you go into the front of the car and you just start pumping. And gravity does everything else. The hose is connected to the bleeder screw. It goes up, and then it goes down into that pan. And you can bleed anything like that. Maybe not ABS, but it's all gravity. And so what happens, the fluid goes up as you're pumping, and then it comes out. And so some of the fluid stays on the bleeder screw side, and the other stuff flows out into the pan. And so, if anything, the bleeder, but I'm not going to try and defend what I just said. It works. If you don't believe me, just go try it. Dump all the fluid out and start pumping, doing what I say, one wheel at a time, and it works. But anyway, the thing is this, you don't want to lose this pressure, because you'll have to bleed it in order to make this piston, your frozen piston that you've just pushed in with the C-clamp, you have to pump the pedal with fluid in it so the piston will come back out again. And so you repeat that several times. You push it in with the clamp and pump it out with your foot. Push it in, pump it out. You put WD-40 on it, whatever it takes, and lots of brake cleaner. You're going to use that. That's crack for mechanics, this stuff right here. Brake cleaner. That's what we do with it. We can't not have it. It's just an essential. I use probably about 2 cans. Well, 1 can a side per side. There's another issue with these things. A few years ago, I did a set of these. The guy brought them. In order to do it, I needed pressure. I had to buy a 4-foot hose and connect it to there's the cat. He's going to give me some tips. Come on, you can mop later. But connected a 4-foot hose to a working brake system on a Volkswagen. You got to have brakes. You got to have a working master cylinder, and connected it to his caliper, and went through this whole procedure using the other car as pressure to move the pistons. So you get one moving in and out. Then you repeat on the other side. You get this one moving in and out nice. And then the best thing to do is, you have to take it off, and you're going to need air. You might be able to get them to come out with a lot of coaxing, because if they're real freed up, you can get one out with pressure. It'll just fall out. And if you got the other one almost all the way out, you can probably wiggle it out with a pair of pliers if you don't have a compressor. Just wiggle it out. And then you can clean up the inside and put a kit in it. Now, this is a thing. As I said, I had to buy a 4-foot hose for a guy that brought me 4 really stuck calipers, and I pulled these things off of it. And this is the kit that I bought for it. You can see it's kind of hard. Let me show you. I don't understand this because it doesn't make any sense. You see the diameter of the piston? This inner circle? This thing is supposed to go over it like a tight rubber band around a newspaper. And this part goes on the outside. It goes right here. And then this clip makes it stay down, this wire clip. Well, see, the thing is, on the kit that I bought for the other car to do the calipers, this was too big. So I went to my Porsche friend, and I said, I need something that fits. And we dug through a whole bunch of random caliper kits and random caliper pieces, and we must have come up with something similar to this. Now, as you can see, this inner hole fits onto this thing like it was made for it. I'm sure it's the same profile. The outer part, it's too small of a diameter. I mean, it's a smaller diameter than it needs to be. You can see right here, it doesn't quite work, you know, but you can stretch this and it'll work. And you will be able to get the clip on and it won't come off. I mean, I was all done with the thing and I had one pad out. I'll tell you why later. And I started pumping it thinking I was bleeding, and the piston came out, almost came out, and this thing was still on. It didn't even come off. There's a lot of stretch here, but you got to put this together dry if you're using this. It's probably from a 914. It could be from a VW Type 3 front, a Carmen Ghia maybe. I don't know. I can't remember why I have this, because I got the last set for my Porsche front. But this fits beautifully, but you got to stretch it. And so I had one that I met. It's got to be dry, 100% dry when you reassemble. So it'll stay on because it'll keep coming off of this. But one side, it just, no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to work. So I put a little dab of super glue on it and I stuck it on one side. I made the side opposite of the side I was going to manipulate it with my fingers, which I guess super glue over here, manipulate with fingers from this direction while it's clamped in a vise, something like that. And these things will keep the water from going in this, because if this is the right part, that means somebody designed it so water would go in your caliper. But this is wrong, and it came again in a kit, a set of kits I got from a known, supplier. I don't remember who it was, but I'm sure they're easy to find on the internet. And my buddy had something that fit, and I think I bought these for a Carmen Ghia, and I didn't end up using them. So there you go. And then you got to have pressure though. And see, this hose is bent, probably because somebody in the past putting pads in, just ganked on it and didn't care. The other side was similar, but not as bad. But that's how you free up pistons. And if you can what you can do is, you don't necessarily have to take the pistons out, because the inner seal seldom leaks. I mean, the probability of a rebuilt caliper leaking is higher than this one and most of the ones that are on cars. I saw a 914 a few years ago, and one side was rebuilt and the other side wasn't. It was original, probably. And that's not unusual. And the right side leaked and the left side didn't. So I think I did both of them, but you could just, but anyway, that's the thing. You can free these things up and you don't literally need any parts. If you're in a pinch, and you don't have any of these, you just put it back together. But you can get them to move like this, but you got to have pressure. And if you got a frozen set, just find a car that's got working brakes, hopefully a German one, so you can buy a 4-foot long European style, German style hose and connect it to your caliper, your frozen calipers, and one at a time, this procedure. And it's going to take you a long time, but it works. And then when you're done, you put some brake lube in it. You can pull this back with like a little 90-degree hook. Just pull it back and get an opening there and pour some brake fluid. Well, I wouldn't say pour, but liberally put some brake cleaner, brake lube in there. You can buy it. It looks like glycerin. It's clear. And then when you're putting this back together and when you're taking it apart, this is the best tool value there is at Harbor Freight. That's a brass hammer. It's a beautiful hammer. I mean, it's the only hammer I use now, and I mean, it's supposed to be to protect things, and I use it pretty much on everything. And then if you're looking for the best value in a pair of pliers, you're not going to find them at Snap-on. You're not going to find them at Harbor Freight. You're going to find them at Ace Hardware. Now look at these. No, here comes a cat. He's climbing on me. Let's see, where is it? Crescent. Okay, remember Crescent wrenches? They still exist. Crescent makes these things. See how thin they are? These things will grab things. All those, I don't even have a set of pliers that are wide. I mean, if I did, I lost them. And these things will hold something, and they're small. You can get a lot of leverage on these things. This is one of my favorite tools. And by the way, this can assist in pushing the pistons back in. As you're working on it, you might find it more convenient to use this than to put the C-clamp back on it. When you're pushing the piston in, it's a real tight fit. Even with nothing, even if it didn't have a seal in it, you tried to put it in, it was brand new, they barely go in. So, I mean, they got to be just right, and you might have to rock it a little bit. You might find yourself squeezing it with, say, the pliers or the C-clamp. It doesn't seem to be moving. Just change the angle of attack. Just slide the end like this this part here, this end, just slide it across the top of the piston another couple millimeters just to reorient its pushing position, its vector, so to speak. And because sometimes they'll be cockeyed and it doesn't seem to want to move, just don't kill it. And these pistons, I think they're stainless steel. They're in excellent condition. At least the other side was, because one of them fell out. But I don't want to take the whole thing apart. All I really wanted to do was just free them up, but this thing was really bad. And it needs some engine tune-up work from previous patch-up work, which is real common in this industry. But yeah, best deal, best thing you can find. Best hammer in the world for its price. Harbor Freight. Best pliers, the only pliers you need. Well, there's a whole bunch. You need these too, but as far as this style, see how narrow that is. And I got these at Ace because I had another pair that was real. These are Chinese, but I had an original pair for a long time. I don't even know where I got them. And I lost them, and I Googled it, and Ace Hardware had these, but that was probably 10 years ago. But if you can find them, these are the pliers you're going to use every day, I swear to you. And then here, this is just an incidental. See how narrow that is? It kind of helped on the bottom bolt. But I managed to get this guy in to tighten it. That's a long one from Harbor Freight. And then you just whack it with a hammer. But with a shorter socket and the bolt nearly all the way, and you might have, see, I turned the socket initially with these pliers, I turned this. And just to get, but you know, once you get the nut started, you can do it that way and get it in quite a ways. And then you can do some more with this, you know, or not. And then eventually you can work your way up to using this guy, which is a little fatter, to finish it off with the shortened socket. And you can hit the ratchet with a hammer. And they're tools. You're fixing the tool so you can hit it with the hammer. Just don't hit the car with the hammer unless it's authorized. There are places where it's authorized to hit a car with a hammer. That's it.